The news alert hit just after dawn. White House orders sweeping review of green cards from 19 nations. Across America, families froze, coffee cups paused, phones raised, anxiety rising. The announcement came quietly, via a pre-dawn memo from Homeland Security, not a press conference. For millions, the message was chilling. Your green card, once a symbol of security, is now under threat. In Dearborn, Michigan, a Yemeni father getting his kids ready for school suddenly wonders if his decade-old status is at risk. News anchors spoke of national security, but for families, the question was simple. Could we be forced to leave? The reports were chaotic, answers scarce. Never before had the US government planned to retroactively re-examine so many lawful permanent residents. The idea that a green card was permanent was suddenly in doubt. Immigrants who followed every rule now felt the ground shift beneath them. Lawyers' phones rang non-stop. Community leaders scrambled to inform and reassure. The government statement was clinical, about security gaps. But the human impact was immediate. Doctors, engineers, and business owners from targeted countries all faced the same uncertainty. The American dream, for many, was now shadowed by fear. As the sun rose, the nation held its breath, waiting for answers. What does this policy actually do? The government will re-examine all green cards issued to citizens of 19 countries. It's not an automatic cancellation, but a sweeping review. Every case file will be reopened, background checks rerun, and original information re-verified. If discrepancies or new concerns arise, individuals must attend mandatory interviews. Miss one, and deportation proceedings could begin. The focus is continuous eligibility, not just on the day you got your green card, but every day after. This is a major shift. Previously, only serious crimes or fraud could trigger revocation. Now, even non-criminal red flags could put status at risk. The government may scrutinize travel, associations, even public statements. Critics warn this creates a moving target, judging people by today's standards for decisions made years ago. For those affected, their entire life is suddenly under review. Unlike the 2017 travel ban, which blocked entry from certain countries, this policy targets people already living legally in the US. It's not a wall, but a filter, re-examining the status of lawful permanent residents. The administration frames it as a review, not a ban, likely to avoid the legal pitfalls of the past. By focusing on individuals, not entire populations, they hope for a stronger legal defense. This is a major escalation. Lawful permanent residents have always had protected status and a path to citizenship. Now, that security is in question. The review blurs the line between legal and undocumented immigrants, creating instability for those who thought they were safe. The scale is massive. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, could be affected. The government claims it's about applying today's security standards to yesterday's applicants. But for those under review, it feels like the rules are changing after the fact. The permanent impermanent resident now comes with an asterisk. Neighbors, co-workers, and friends suddenly face uncertainty. The policy's impact is both legal and deeply personal. The government hasn't released the full list of 19 countries, citing security concerns, but leaks point to nations in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia. Yemen, Syria, Iran, Somalia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nigeria, and more. These countries are seen as high risk due to conflict, weak institutions, or strained US relations. For places like Syria or Yemen, war makes document verification nearly impossible. Iran is a long-standing adversary. Pakistan and Nigeria are partners with internal security challenges. The US claims these nations have unreliable vetting systems, creating security gaps. Including partner nations signals distrust and strains diplomatic ties. Critics say the list unfairly targets Muslim-majority countries, reviving accusations of religious discrimination. The policy creates a two-tiered system, one for safe countries, another for those under suspicion. For individuals from these nations, their birthplace is now a mark of suspicion, regardless of their record or contributions. The controversy is as much about fairness as it is about security. The list itself has become a symbol of division. A green card is supposed to mean stability, a promise of life, work, and a path to citizenship in America. Green card holders have rights to work, own property, and due process before deportation. This policy challenges that promise, creating a mechanism to search for reasons to revoke status retroactively. If flagged, individuals must prove their eligibility all over again, often without old documents or contacts. The process is legally complex, especially for those with green cards older than 5 years. The new policy pressures people into interviews where a simple mistake could have devastating consequences. It creates a two-tiered system. Residents from safe countries feel secure, while those from the 19 live in constant uncertainty. Everyday decisions, buying a house, starting a business, traveling, are now fraught with anxiety. The sense of permanence is gone, replaced by fear of losing everything. For many, the American dream now feels conditional. The administration faces major legal and logistical obstacles. The Constitution guarantees due process. Targeting a group based on nationality could violate equal protection. Lawsuits from civil rights groups are inevitable. Logistically, reviewing hundreds of thousands of old files will overwhelm an already backlogged immigration system. Diverting resources could slow down all immigration processes. Legally, revoking a green card, especially for long-term residents, requires strong evidence of fraud or ineligibility. Memories fade, documents disappear, and the burden of proof is high. Courts will decide if this is legitimate security policy or unconstitutional discrimination. Legal battles could stall the policy for years, leaving families in limbo. The threat alone may intimidate, but full implementation faces a long, uncertain road. Among those affected are Afghans and Iraqis who risk their lives for the U.S. as translators and advisors. Promised safety through special immigrant visas, many are now green card holders, yet their loyalty is suddenly in question. Veterans and diplomats see this as a betrayal. These allies were vetted by both military and intelligence agencies. Reexamining their status sends a chilling message to future partners. America's promises may not last. Refugees from Syria, Iran, and other conflict zones face similar uncertainty. They fled persecution, proved their cases, and rebuilt their lives. Now, their right to stay is under review. For these individuals, the policy is not just bureaucratic, it's existential. They cannot return home, but their place in America is no longer secure. The trauma they escaped is revived by the threat of losing everything again. The policy's human cost is profound and deeply personal. The administration argues this policy is about national security, using modern tools to recheck those approved under old standards. They cite cases where legal immigrants later became threats, insisting, "We can't afford to take chances." Supporters say, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. They see it as a necessary update, prioritizing safety over inconvenience. Critics counter that it's collective punishment, targeting people for their origin, not their actions. They argue it undermines the rule of law and erodes trust in the system. Retroactively changing the terms of a green card creates instability and fear. It tells immigrants that following the rules is no guarantee of security. Civil liberties advocates warn this sets a dangerous precedent. If green cards can be re-examined, what's next? The debate is about more than policy. It's about the soul of American justice. The policy has sparked a political firestorm, dividing Congress and the nation. The administration frames it as tough on security, energizing supporters ahead of elections. Republicans praise it as common sense. Democrats condemn it as discriminatory and un-American. With Congress deadlocked, the real battle will be in the courts. But beyond politics, the human cost is immediate. Hundreds of thousands face anxiety and upheaval. Families fear separation, children worry about losing parents, and communities are thrown into turmoil. Advocacy groups are mobilizing, lawsuits are coming, and personal stories are flooding the media. The debate deepens national divides, with the fate of the policy and the people it affects uncertain. For many, the American dream is now a question mark. The nation waits, caught between security and the promise of fairness.